Welcome back, everyone, to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, you have Yinka Yusuf
Hello, people.
and Akin Adike. Mr. Yinka,
Yes, sir.
one of us is not where they're supposed to be. You want to tell people because you always tell everyone that I'm never home. Why are you not home, brother?
I decided to be like you now. You know, I told you that when I grow up, my prayer is to be like you.
You play
When
too
I
much.
grow up, my prayer is to be like you. So I said, you know what? Let me to find somewhere and go to. Let my background change for a couple of
Oh my
seconds.
God, you're a disaster.
So I'm here for work. Actually, I'm in Joburg for the week.
Johannesburg, RSA, South Africa.
Yes, sir. I'm here for the week.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Nice.
So I'm sitting in my hotel room, different background.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
So let me enjoy
I love
this
South
moment
Africa.
because very, very soon you will be the one again saying, I'm in Boston this week. I'm
But
in Philadelphia next week.
I never go to fun places. You know, like I want to go to Joburg, Boston's not fun. And now it's winter almost. So
I can imagine. Your sister is still in Joburg, isn't she?
Brother. Sister is in the US now. But brothers, both of them were before.
She was in Joburg before.
Yeah, they were both there. Yeah. So now it's just the brother. All right. That's cool. Well, enjoy your week out there.
I'll try.
Have a lot of fun. Yinka, because of your travels, we are recording on a Monday, the 4th of November. We could not record yesterday.
No, we couldn't.
So a lot has happened. We'll get to as much of it as we can. Last week when we recorded, we did an extended treatment of Man U and Ten Hag, and then after we finished, what happened? Ten Hag got fired literally right after we recorded, right? So since we've said so much about it already, let's not say too much. Let's just do a quick rapid fire worthy mention, and let's lead with Ten Hag. Well, give us your quick take on Ten Hag being fired.
So when he was fired and he told me I'd only done 2.5 years at United, I was like, are you sure? It seemed like he had done like 4-5 years or something. It's like he's been there for a longer period of time. But frankly, this is just he's in his third season. First season, he got them into the Champions League, I think. They didn't win a trophy. When the second, I think they won the EFL or so. But
they won the Carling, whatever. They don't call it Carabao Cup anymore.
Carabao Cup in year one, and FA Cup last year. And in terms of win percentage, Akin, looking back, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, frankly. He had above 50% win percentage. Some other coaches won't get fired for that, but that's not good enough for United. And I think he's lost the dressing room. He's lost the respect of the fans. Nobody. The only people that had his back were probably Ineos, and it was from a financial standpoint. And they realized, you know what, maybe we should just bite the bullet now and just go for someone younger, someone with a little bit more passion. And that's what happened. We saw the writing on the wall, Akin. So I'm not too surprised. But good luck to Mr. Erik ten Hag. My donkey of the week session will suffer a bit with this is exit. I need to look for another.
You have to get more creative. You need to get more creative. He made it so easy. More creative.
It was just too easy. Too easy. Anyway, what's your take?
You know, like taking candy from a kid. But okay.
I'm telling you.
So I think this is a sign of a club not being well run. I think this is the sign of a club caring too much about what the fans think. Because for me, how do I put this? So, Yinka, you play fantasy. Do you play fantasy sports, right?
Yeah.
You play. So, I play fantasy in football, in American football, in basketball, and baseball. and I do some other like pseudo fantasy things, like the U.S. college basketball, March Madness. So I play
Match
way too
madness and
much
stuff.
fantasy, right? What people always accuse me of doing is not changing course frequently enough during the course of the season, because for me, I put a lot of stock. In America, we do the draft, right? So
Yeah.
in real life, you draft your players. In fantasy, you draft your players, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I put a lot of thought into my draft. I go into my draft with um, a philosophy. So for my NBA draft, for example, I did some trades. So I had multiple first round and second round picks. And then there was, in the middle rounds, I was sitting for like 15 minutes, not drafting anybody, because I'd already drafted so much early on, right? And my position, or my philosophical, I guess, approach this time was, I'm tired of losing rebounds. So I'm going to get bigs. So I got the big guy from Utah. I got Durant from the
Sons.
Pistons. The
Oh,
Pistons,
okay.
Pistons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I got a lot of bigs. So I'm like, I'm tired of losing rebounds. That was my approach. And then it's a keeper league, so you keep 4 players. I traded Kevin Durant, and kept Miller from Charlotte. And some people thought I was crazy, because Miller from Charlotte is not going to produce over the next 2 years what Durant will produce, but he's also less likely to be injured. He's less likely to miss 30 games a season, right? Why do I say all this? What does any of this have to do with Man United and Ten Hag? What is your philosophy? What are you chasing? What is the Man United way of playing ball? You know what I mean? Is it just, oh, we must win the Carabao Cup? We must win the FA Cup? Or do your fans require you to play a certain way? You know what I mean? We know what the Barcelona way is. We know what the Bayern Munich way is, right? And if you go to Bayern and you're playing Route 1 football and you win everything, they'll fire you anyway.
Yeah.
Right? If you go to Barcelona and you're playing Route 1 football, or a football that doesn't respect La Masia, and you win every El Clasico for 3 years, you're out anyway. Because you're not gonna connect spiritually with your fans. So what is the Man United way? And I ask that because let's recap. Since Ferguson left in 2013, right? They've had David Moyes, who, I don't know how you look at Ferguson and say his natural successor is David Moyes. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But they're both Scots, so they did parakbo for each other,
Yeah.
and he got the job. When he left, who replaced him? Was it
I think it was
Van
Kalish
Gaal?
Curtis. I think wasn't it Kalish Curtis for a
So
bit?
interim. That's interim. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. That was
never.
interesting. It was
So
never.
that, and then Van Gaal.
Then they go Van Hal. Yeah. Van
Okay,
Hal.
so Van
Then
Gaal, and
Mourinho.
then Mourinho, right? And then from Mourinho,
Ole
who
Gunnar.
did they go to
I think
next?
it was Ole Gunnar.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Okay,
Yeah.
Solskjaer was there for what, 4 years or whatever it was, and then this guy,
And then this
right?
guy. Yeah.
This guy. I think we're missing one or two in between. Maybe the interims,
There might be
But
interims, quite a number of
yeah,
interims. Yeah.
we're missing one or two. But the point is, Yinka, what is one thread? One thread that runs through all of the people since 2013, for the last 11 years. I can't find it.
Yeah.
I can't
No
find
common
it.
factor.
Nothing. I can't find it. So when you're hiring a manager, what are you looking for? It would be like their noisy neighbors, losing Pep tomorrow and hiring Diego Simeone. That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah.
do you hire for your philosophy, or do you hire who you like and let them define your philosophy? So, and it's strange to me, for we can call them the most successful club in England, right?
Yeah.
For the most successful club in England to not have a philosophy is kind of crazy. So, I mean, I'm sure if you ask them, they'll say the pompous, arrogant thing and say our philosophy is winning, but you're not winning. You're not winning. How do you want to win? Even Tottenham have a philosophy. It's insane. They will never be successful, but they have a philosophy. So this is amazing to me because I see no common thread between any two of the managers they've had. It makes no sense. But let's do a quick segue to they have a new manager. It took them less than 2 weeks. It took them a week to sign him, but he's not coming for another 10 days or whatever it is. So Rúben Amorim from Sporting Lisbon. So what do you want to say about him, Yinka, in general? He's 39 years old.
So before I move on to Rúben, what you said around United philosophy and the rest of it, you're absolutely spot on. And the fans also saying winning, they're absolutely spot on. And I'll explain why. Ferguson only cared about winning. He didn't care how he played. Ferguson evolved. All he wanted to do is, I want to win. Pre-Wenger, the way Ferguson played was different. The way he played when Wenger came around was different from the way he played when Mourinho came around. Right? So Fergie didn't really have a philosophy also. If you look at it, all he cared about is, I want to win. Yeah. But moving on to Rúben Amorim, once again, this feels like a slot hire. And his slot, that is
like
Liverpool
from
Liverpool, right? So the pedigree is not that much, right? He was still playing, and he said, I think I'm a better coach. I'll be a better coach and a better player. And he actually retired a bit earlier to go into coaching. And when he took over the Sporting job, was that 2 or 3 years ago? They won their first title in 19 years. Yeah.
And he's won the second one since then.
And he's won the second one since then. And they've been in Champions League. Champions League was Porto's birthright for years. But he's put them in Champions League constantly. So is he a good coach? Yes, he is. But United is a different beast. It's a different monster. Yeah. There will be a lot of forming and numbing, and something will have to give. Is either United let go of some of their, or Amorim gets his way. I don't know what it will be. Amorim is a disciplinarian. He's tough. Yeah? If he comes in and he looks at the dressing room and he says, Garnacho's gone, Rashford's gone. If he says all these guys, I don't want them. Will United say, okay, Rúben says he doesn't want them, we get rid of them? Or will they say, sorry, dude, you have to work with them? And once that decision passes and he doesn't have his way, the players know that he's not in charge. He doesn't have...
It's done. It's done.
Nah. So they will continue to play that. And this has been the problem with United all along. Yeah. But for me, it's a good hire. I like young coaches looking into the future, enough of all these relics that we've had in the past. So if Bayern is going company, Arsenal is going Arteta, and Liverpool's going Slot, you need a young coach also. I'm not saying, Ten Hag wasn't that old, but not at the Amorim. Yeah. Amorim and what's his name, and Arteta, I've been saying in Yoruba, they are Sawawu, if you get what I mean. So, I think it's a good hire, but time will tell. I don't. The problem with United goes beyond coaching. Changing the coach is just a partial fix. The problem is a lot more deep rooted.
So, Yinka, I don't think United currently have more problems than Barcelona had before Xavi, and definitely before their current coach. Sometimes, no, hold on.
Barca have La Masia. United don't.
That's very true. That's very true. That is very true. But they couldn't register players, Yinka. Barca were unable to register players.
Because they're fools. They didn't need to register players. Just go and pick player from La Masia. What are you registering expensive players for? I get what you're saying. But I get your point.
It was so bad. you
It
know,
was bad.
but I feel like Barcelona has actually like showed the world how you do it. They showed two different ways that you can be successful.
Yeah.
Bring in a legend who loves the club, you know what I mean? Who is willing to put in the work, put in the blood, sweat, and tears, who is not just a pundit. So do not bring in Gary Neville. That's not what we're talking about. You know?
Yeah.
So for me, it would have been someone like, so for Xavi, that the Xavi corollary would have been someone like the name just escaped me now. Carrick,
Who?
Michael Carrick.
Michael Carrick, yeah.
Right? Or Michael Carrick, who has started earning his stripes somewhere else, right? Who is universally respected, who doesn't really speak. So they're not gonna be bombastic and just say things just for effect. You know, who is a builder, not just not a show pony, right? So that's one way to do it. You know, Xavi, in my opinion, was successful. You know, if you think about what he inherited, and then right after Xavi, Hansi Flick, a professional manager who has done it before, who the players like, who likes the players, who doesn't make himself the story. But I would say Hansi Flick is more of an Ancelotti type personality, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just, you know, I mean, I told you the day I was sold on him on the Barca project was the day they beat somebody 7-1, and he pulls one of the kids aside and he's talking to
coaching him.
Not in the way Pep shows you up to prove that he's the best coach in the world. No, but he's talking to him like a big bro. You know, he's coaching without showing up the player. You know, that was the day I knew, okay, Barcelona made the right choice. So for me, I feel like Barcelona has shown all these other big clubs two ways you could be successful. You know, find the next Ancelotti, you know, or bring a legend who is just even kill, not the loudest, not the craziest. They thought they had it in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he's just not good enough, you know. And he's coming from, you know, tiny country, whatever. You know, Carrick is already coaching in England. You know, that's so one of those two is what I would have done. But Yinka, before we move on to another topic, it's interesting because Amorim could have gone to Liverpool. He chose to stay because they had him ahead of Arne Slot. So I thought that was interesting.
I think the groundwork for his movement is not something that happened 2 weeks ago. Yeah? That's what I think. Because it's like we've made up our mind that he's going to be next. We're just waiting for when we're fed up. And you know, he had a stint with United in the past with Mourinho. When Mourinho was in United, he had his.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he had his licenses and stuff, right? When he
I
was,
didn't
so he
know
had
that.
it.
No, I didn't
So
know that.
it's not entirely new, right, to
Oh, that's
United.
interesting. I didn't know that, Yinka.
So I think the what it domicile, they are just pressing. You understand? There is now that they're enjoying the background work that they had done.
Interesting.
But I it's a good hire. I'm not gonna lie. I think there are few things they could have done that would have been better, or few appointments that they could have done that would have been better than Amorim. But this might not. I don't think this will solve the United's problem, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's more institutional.
Yeah, Yinka, for those who don't follow the Portuguese league, you said Sporting hadn't won in 19 years. Sporting, because they're in Lisbon, consider themselves a big, giant club.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Benfica is also in Lisbon, right? If you look at the full name of Benfica, they actually think they should be the one that should be called Lisbon. But we're not going to get into all that. You know, they have Lisbon in their name as well. Of course, Porto is in a different city of Porto and all that. But the reality is there's no big three in Portugal. There's only a big two. So he's forced them. No, that's the reality in terms of success.
You're right.
Know?
You're
so
absolutely
what he's done is actually a big deal. You know, the pipeline of Brazilians coming into Portugal, they're going to the top two. They're not necessarily going to Sporting, or they haven't been for 20 years, right? So I think there's something there. You can only coach with what you got. But I think there's something there. How we broke, the Porto, Benfica, thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's just see how it goes. All right.
And I think Gyökeres is off to Man United. It's not coming to Arsenal anymore.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. All right. You and I like him a lot. I think when he comes, if he comes to the EPL, it will be the second best striker on day one. When it comes,
yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah. So, and it will be a shame, but it is what it is. Okay.
It is what it is.
Because something happened a week ago today.
Yes.
The Ballon d'Or ceremony. We already knew who was gonna win what, blah 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 blah. But there was a shameful thing that happened with Real Madrid. So
did we really know who was gonna win? Okay.
I think by the day before we knew Rodri had won. But
before
Sunday
that
night.
Before that day before.
We didn't know. We didn't know before Sunday.
Almost everybody was rooting for Vini, especially after the Dortmund game where he had a fantastic game. The whole world kind of crowned him, and I mean the whole world.
So okay. So I think it helped that I didn't watch the Dortmund game.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Because I was on the road. Remember, that was the week where I didn't watch Champions League.
That's true.
Because for me, I didn't understand it. I thought, okay, great season up to the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad Copa America. Really bad Copa America. Indifferent start to the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And then you look at the trajectory of his teammate, Drew Bellingham. Great first half of last season. Okay second half, but they won the Champions League. Great one game at the Euros. Okay to bad the rest of the Euros. They don't win, right? Indifferent start to this new season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you look at a perfect season. I mean, Yinka, do we need to go through this again? Rodri played 98 matches for club and country and won and lost once.
Maybe several episodes ago, we actually went through this, and we kind of both concluded, right, that Rodri should win, but given Ballon d'Or and their history and how they prefer attackers over every other person, we will not be shocked if Vini won. I think that was where we concluded that discussion.
That was exactly how it happened.
So when we got the news that Rodri won, I was like, well deserved, And I'll take a slight dig at all the English people that thought Phil Foden was a better player. Come on. And I said this on that episode, that for anybody to look at that City team and pick Foden ahead of Rodri, are y'all smoking cheap stuff? I don't get it. I don't. I'm sorry. So I think this vindicates me kind of. Vini was, Vini. Rodri was almost by far. I don't want to say by far. I want to make it seem as if it was clear, but come on now, Akin. Come on.
Okay. So let me just do it. You like to say give people their flowers. So I hate that term, but I will use it just for you. Let's give you your flowers because you love this guy. It's an irrational love. I don't love Rodri. I
should hate him. I know. Because of what he's done to us now. But anyway.
I know. But remember, we had the CDM conversation where I was talking about my friend's son who is 11 and all that. I can't think of any other position in the world, Yinka, where he's so far ahead of number 2.
God bless you.
There isn't any other position in the world. Okay, so that's my first argument. The second is, and I sound crazy because Arsenal is like 18 million points behind everybody, but I think Arsenal have the best team in England. I'm not talking about form. I'm talking about quality, right? The only spot where they cannot compete is the Rodri spot. It's not even close. There is no defender like today. If you make everybody available on City, I would choose 0 City defenders. 0.
Ahead of
over their starting counterpart.
Yep.
Over their starting. Gavidal, you can tempt me with Gavidal, but I'm not giving up.
Calafiori,
Timber.
Ben White,
I'm not giving up Timber for him or giving. You know what I mean?
Saliba, Gabriel. Fair point.
John Stones, are you crazy? No.
Fair point.
You go into. I love Foden. I love him more than you do, right? I'll give up Martinelli for him. I'm not giving up Saka for him.
Yep. Fair point.
Okay. All right.
Fair
I
point.
would personally drive all the number 9s at Arsenal to City in exchange for their number 9. Because I'm not crazy. Right? But the one standout for me that Arsenal, for me, they're the best team in the league this season. I said it 5 games ago. I'm not going to change my mind because they hit a rough patch. Me and Gary Neville are aligned on this. But none of their defenders, their goalkeeper is probably better than the Arsenal goalkeeper.
But it's not crystal clear.
There's such a big gap, Yinka, right? But let me throw some controversy into this. The things I've heard in the past week. One, how can you be the best league in the world and this is your first Ballon d'Or since 2008? Yinka, defend your league.
How can I do what? Come in.
How can you be the best league in the world?
Yeah.
And this is your first Ballon d'Or since 2008.
Do you want me to go back to my first unpopular opinion or second or third where I said Ballon d'Or is what?
So why are we talking about it?
No, we're talking about it because we want to get to the petulance of Madrid and Vini.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I should have started with. Ballon d'Or is crap. For me, it's rubbish. I've said it 1,000,001 times.
But does it roughly tell you who had, if not the best, one of the best seasons? Not who is the best player, but who had one of the best seasons? So does it roughly tell you?
The Champions League often in most cases decides, Champions League, World Cup, or the tournament years. That's the hierarchy, then all the leagues. Yeah. So if you have a Real Madrid or a Barca or a Bayern that are, when was the last time English teams won? Is sparingly City here, Liverpool there, Chelsea there. Yeah. And we've talked about this. I don't want to rehash it again. It's cup football. The fact that someone wins Ballon d'Or or did not win is an indication, but it's not the litmus test. It can never be. It can never be.
But it's a thing. I just have to say.
Fair enough.
2, on the CDM part, I've heard the racism argument that, when Conte was doing the same thing for Chelsea all those many years, why wasn't anyone clamoring for him to win? And in 2021, when Conte had, when he had a really great Champions League, Jorginho finished 3rd ahead of him. He finished 5th. So when it was Conte, the CDM was not important. Now that is Rodri, the CDM is important. Defend your people.
Ballon d'Or is trash. Once again, let's move on. No, I'm serious. What you're saying, they are valid points. Okay. They are. I'm not arguing it. Yeah.
Okay.
So once again, it goes back to the criteria is not clear. The methodology is not clear. It changes from year to year. One year you use something, the next year you use something else. For me, it's just
okay. Fair enough.
I mean, and this has been documented. I'm not switching lanes now. I've said this months ago. Yeah. So Ballon d'Or is trash. Let's move on. What's next?
Okay. Real Madrid's petulance.
God.
Okay. It's embarrassing, Yinka.
Okay. I want to be careful with what I say so I don't I don't go viral for the wrong reasons. Yeah. So this whole thing is beneath Madrid.
Okay.
And I'm surprised they dragged themselves into Vini's small cocoon because this is Vini's position that has been extrapolated to Madrid. And they bought into it stupidly. Stupidly. Hear me out. Vini believes he should have won. Oh, yeah, I should have won. And I'm looking at you. There have been more egregious, issues in the past. Yours is not even. If you had won, I won't be, okay, fine, maybe, right? And Rodri had won, I'll say, yeah, I think he deserves it, but it's fine. If Bellingham have won, I would have said, okay, fine. Do you understand? Yeah. It's not as if they left you and they looked at, give me one Enzo Fernandez, and they give Enzo Fernandez.
Oh, Rodrigo de Paul.
or Rodrigo de Paul. So the guy kind of got high on his own supply and was like, this goes back to what I've told you about Vini. He plays victim too much. He's a fantastic player, but as a teammate, I hate players like that. I hate it. He plays victim too much. He started playing victim and Real got sucked into it, which is beneath Real Madrid. I'm sorry. It is beneath them. So if Bellingham had won, what would have happened?
So, Yinka, I don't think you're wrong. I think your response is incomplete.
No.
And here's why.
Complete it for me. Go ahead.
Here is why. So there's actually a real controversy here. We'll never get to the bottom of it, but there's a real controversy here. So, and this is reporting from ESPN's people on the ground in Spain, right?
Okay.
So the Ballon d'Or is done by France Football, right? So in the past they've been accused of giving it to French players, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. That was not the problem here. Mbappe was never going to win. But apparently, Real Madrid heard or were made to believe that Vini was going to win. Okay? No one else heard it. No one else was told. Okay, hold on. Hold on. It wasn't Vini's people, right? Real Madrid was made to believe. It wasn't rumors or whatever. This is reporting from ESPN's people, right, on the ground. So Real Madrid was made to believe, but the captains were not told. The coaches were not told. Like the voters were not told. So I don't know who told them, but because there's so much corruption in football, I tend to believe that this happened. Okay, now this is okay. Go on. That someone told Real Madrid. That someone told Real Madrid that Vini had won.
Let's assume that is the case. Go on.
Okay. Now, this is the part where you're right. Vini told his teammates he was going to buy them Rolexes. Okay? Gavi had been injured for 300 days or 300 and whatever days. He came in the El Clasico. He played like 2.5 minutes. And then he started jawing with Vini. And Vini was like, I lost here, but I'm going to win on Monday, So there was that going on. He was sure. He had a plane full of people coming to the thing, 40 people, a 40-man delegation from Real Madrid. And then he had his own personal people coming from Brazil. All right? And then someone made that decision. It wasn't Vini. This is where the disgrace for me is not Vini. The disgrace is the club. I think they did this because they don't want to face the public and have to defend why they lost 4-0 2 days earlier in El Clasico. I think that's where all this stuff started from.
Okay. Okay. So you might be right. Right? And also all the things you said around what was reported, it's funny that it's only Real Madrid that heard. Nobody heard. No one else heard.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that 5-2 game. Right? The way he was celebrating the game, the hype, everything, it was maybe suggested. And the whole world, reporters and everybody are like, yeah, this kind of cements, hype. And Rodri's been injured. So there's no hype on Rodri's part.
Good
So
point.
was that hype? Now, the way the voting works, Akin, right? Right now, I'm not sure whether they've released it, but they will still release it. You will see the way people voted.
Yeah.
You will see the way people voted. So all this nonsense that's going on, or Real Madrid or whoever, Vini and Real Madrid, it is completely beneath Madrid. Now, here's the sad part. The player that won is a Spanish player. Real Madrid is a Spanish club. It's a Spanish player.
And he came from this. He played in their city. He played for Atletico.
So one of my guys said that the only reason this might be happening, and I was going to check, the guy said, as Vini's contract, is it about to expire? When did he renew a contract? I said, whoa, good point. So this is Vini's throwing a tantrum. Let's throw it with him. So at least he'll show that we're in line with him, or we're in the same whatever with him, so he can, we don't want to get him on the bad side, so he will sign a new contract. So I was going to check how many years he had left on his contract. Frankly.
That's a great point.
And I was like, that's a good one. That might be the case. But Akin, Real Madrid, you are an institution. They gave you the club your club won an award there. Your club won an award there. You were given, was it the club of the century or club of the year? I can't remember what they gave them. They gave them something.
And no, not just that. Ancelotti won coach of the year.
Coach of the year. So all because of a player,
and they were the team of the year. They didn't show up.
And they're the team of the year. Yeah, and just because of a player that we all know cries wolf.
Yeah.
That plays victim too much. Somebody was saying, part of the criteria is you have to be proper on and off the pitch. I'm like, that's the minor point. I get it, but I don't. In terms of the criteria, I think that's the least. But if that was considered, or if you look at the factors, those three factors, and they have equal weight, I think the only reason, the only place where you can say Vini is at par with either Bellingham or Rodri is the first part, which is on pitch success to the footballing. You get what I mean? Every other one that follows, Vini is not even top 10. Every other criteria that follows, he's not top 10. He isn't. So, having said that, Real Madrid, come on, man. You're bigger than this. Vini is a player. He will leave your club. He might not even sign a new contract for all you care. He might go somewhere else for all you care. And you let that single player tarnish your image? What is this? What is this all of it's us against the world? Same thing with the Super League, us against the world. You can't play by yourself, dudes. You can't play football on your own. You can't say Real Madrid A versus Real Madrid B team. It's not possible. It's not. And please, don't be a sore loser. Don't be. This is beneath you guys. Beneath you guys. Wow. Don't do it again.
Okay. So, are we done?
For sake of time,
we're done with that topic. Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on.
I think I heard, like you said, we'll see when the full results come out. But I think the Cameroonian coach voted for the Cameroonian goalkeeper.
Onana.
Number one.
Onana.
so I thought I was hilarious.
See the way people voted.
Yeah.
And see, I know how this stuff works. There is an auditor that is there, right? That his main job, right? If they had announced the wrong winner, that's when you know the auditor was there.
Yeah.
He will come out and say, sorry, we oversaw the voting process. That's not the winner. XYZ is the winner. That's the way this stuff works. So for somebody to think somebody bribed, how many people do you want to bribe? Why would Man City bribe people for Rodri? Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right,
let's move on.
The Carabao Cup 4th round happened last week. Your favorite team, Spurs, dumped City out of Carabao Cup. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
Akin, it might be if we merge that loss to the loss that happened over the weekend for City. This is City's first back-to-back loss in 8 years.
That is crazy. That's crazy. That's dominance.
That's the monster Liverpool, Arsenal, and the rest of those goons are dealing with. This is their first back-to-back loss, Akin, in 8 years.
In all competitions?
In all competition.
That's crazy.
Need I say more?
No, you don't. So where does this leave them? Because here's what I'm thinking, Inka. Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
John Stones in 2 games that he did not start. I remember John Stones is a defender, not a striker.
Not a striker, yeah.
Scored with 30 seconds-ish to go to get them 1 point against Arsenal. And was it 1 point against, who was it? Was it Brighton?
3 points against Wolves. Three
3 points against Wolves, right? So that's
winner, yeah.
4. It would have been, so that's 3 points total, right? A differential, because it would have been a draw against Wolves. So they're 3 points better than they would have been without this guy, you know. And so, do they actually have more problems than Arsenal right now?
So, here's the thing.
Okay.
See, in football, luck plays a very, very important role. Things need to align for you. Yes, your talent also matters. Yeah? Now, it's the similar injury bug that Arsenal have that City is currently having. City have a deeper squad, and yet they themselves are suffering. Liverpool had the same injury bug beginning of last season. Remember? And that we said, despite the injuries, that they're still doing well, and this is a testament to their squad strength and the rest of it. Remember, we said that.
Yeah.
So it's the same problem that you have right now, right? Foden is off form, just the way Martinelli is off form. I'm not comparing players. I'm just telling you what it looks like, right?
Absolutely.
Backline, the typical backline injured. Rodri is out. Same thing with Odegaard. Those are influential players that you have. You know,
KDB.
So when KDB on and off, although was on the bench, I think he came on. I didn't watch the game. I didn't see the game on Saturday. But you get what I'm trying to say. So when these things happen and people say, "Oh, if you're not injured, it's not an excuse," guys. This thing is sometimes I like people having discussions that are based on understanding of football. It's not just about, oh, I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm a City fan. Let's sit down and talk about things that impact the game. For you to tell me that when you have your A squad players, your main squad players are injured, you're telling me it's not going to affect, there's no excuse. Of course there is. It will impact the game. Don't use that to just, if you're saying, no, it's not an excuse, you still perform, I get it. But to tell me that it doesn't matter, it does matter. That's why City is struggling right now. Not because the players that are there now are not good, but if you're not playing constantly enough, form matters, right? If the whole team is not in form, there's a problem. If you mix and match too much, there's a problem. Look at Liverpool. Since the beginning of the season, the only people that have been in and out of that team is the left-sided
Nunes,
Nunes, Gakpo, and Diaz and Jota. That's been the main people that are revolving. Every other person is almost constant. Almost. Back four, constant. Gravenberch, constant. McAllister,
Goalkeeper has
constant.
been in and out, though.
Goalkeeper in and out. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper in and out. Salah, constant. So these things matter. So you build form, you play into form. When Arsenal was coasting last year, everybody was playing and everybody was on form. Yeah. So that's exactly what's going on with City right now. They will need to play themselves back into form. And while they're doing that, they might still drop points. Might, not that they will, but they might still drop points. But for anybody to believe their first back-to-back loss in 8 years is just a fluke. No, it's not a fluke. It's not.
That is
it's
amazing.
Not. They're struggling right now because the players that are available are not in form, unlike those that are injured. Foden has not done anything this season.
No.
He hasn't. So if you take that's their three best players last year have not really played well this season. KDB, Rodri, and Foden.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So it's a thing.
Okay.
The fixtures are still quite good for them, so they might not struggle as much, but they're not playing their best football right now.
All right. There was a big news out of Arsenal this earlier today. Edu Gaspar, the sporting director, resigned. There was an official statement from the club. You know, the speculation. I know you've heard some. I've heard others. So you've heard that he might be going to Forest.
No, right? Might. He is.
He is okay. What
he is going to.
Is that official?
So he's not going to Forest. He's going to the group that owns Forest. So he's not going to Forest as a club.
Got it.
Right? Got it. It's going to the Marinakis group. So they own Forest. They own Rio Ave. I think they own another Greek team also.
Rio Ave in Portugal.
In Portugal, yeah, and I think another Greek team or a club. I don't know what the constitute of the group, but that's where he's going to.
Okay, but why would he do this?
So I tell you, when people come to me and they say they want to change jobs, and they say give me your advice, what do I tell them? I say it's two things: more money, a bigger role. If it ticks those two boxes, you'll be a fool not to go. So it's the same thing with Arsenal right now, right? I heard this guy are willing to triple his salary, yeah? And they are more or less handing over the keys to the footballing whatever dynasty that they're putting together. They're giving him those keys, yeah? So if I'm Edu and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I wasn't really appreciated outside of Arsenal. The fans thought they thought I didn't get them a striker. I get abuses every day, right? The scrutiny at Arsenal is way higher than the scrutiny at the Forest group. These guys will treat me like demigod. They're tripling my salary. I'm probably going to be CEO of the footballing group. And I heard that earlier in the year, or was it last season, that there was a bit of power tussle at Arsenal in terms of what he could and couldn't do. He was eyeing the CEO role at Arsenal, but the Kroenkes gave it to someone else.
Yeah, they brought someone else from the outside. So all this might have played into it. So for me, if I'm Edu, I'm taking the deal. I am. Yes, I love Arsenal. I do. I'm an ex-player, but there's a pedigree. I was director of football for Brazilian national team before I came to Arsenal. Yeah, and then Corinthians. It was at Corinthians as well. Yeah.
So my placenta is not tied to Arsenal, as we say. It's a bigger role. It's more money. It makes sense to take it. Yeah, it makes sense to take it. So I'm not mad at him. And frankly, I don't think Arsenal fans appreciate what Edu has done. Some deals that he has sanctioned, they forget. If someone told me Arsenal will buy a player for £100 million, I would say over everybody's dead body, right? But we all know the role he played in sanctioning the Declan Rice deal. So for somebody to now look at him and say, "Oh, the striker, he didn't get in a striker, Edu out, you're rubbish," abuses on him on social media and the rest of it, it's like, what the hell,
So
anyway,
one, social media is not a real place.
Yes.
Shout out to Dave Chappelle. Two, let me tell you why I'm worried. It's not because Edu, the man, is leaving. Right? It's because I don't want the owners to consolidate power in Mikel Arteta. That would be a bad idea. Right? And I'm worried that that's what's going to happen. The structure you have is working. Keep that structure. Find somebody else. Go find the next Edu.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Remember,
and I'll tell you why.
Arteta, hold on one second. You can remember Arteta was hired as coach, and then they promoted him to manager. Edu himself came in as, what what was his first title? I forget.
I can't. Then he then became technical
And then
director
became
and blah blah blah.
so yeah. So, but go on. But say what you were gonna say.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay.
And the reason why that is I don't think Arteta is interested in that. Arteta is a football. What do you call them? A football geek, right? He's a football geek. He doesn't want, and this, I might be wrong about this, but what you're saying will be right if the ownership insist and say, if you don't take it, then, do you understand? Then you're out, or that kind of situation. But I read something earlier on today that was a bit funny, or that seemed, what's his name? Kiki Berek. I keep messing.
Yeah.
I'm about to murder his name. He left City.
It did.
We don't know where he is. Has he gotten a new job? He hasn't. Someone said that he thinks, and I read this on Twitter. I would have loved to, this is not my thought. This is not novel to me. I read it, so I don't take credit for this. The guy said, the reason why Arsenal and Liverpool probably had net spends in this season is because they are waiting to see what will happen to City next season.
Because then
City's pool of players will then be available for everybody. Right? And if that is indeed the plan, getting Kiki, the Spaniard that was at City, as the Arsenal's next director of football, might actually be a good idea. And he knows Arteta, blah 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 blah. So that might be a good. It's a
conspiracy theory, but I'll allow it.
It's a stretch. Exactly, it's a stretch. But I look at Arteta and I see this guy just wants to be in the dugout, coaching.
Okay.
I don't think that board thing really. For now, I don't think it's something he's passionate about. And someone else also said, so the names have been popping up. They're like, why not Per Mertesacker to be the director of football? That he's well loved at Arsenal, he's well respected, he knows the players, he knows a lot about football. He's part of the the youth setup, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, internal promotion, is also positive. But I agree with you. If Arteta takes the role and it's combined, that was what we ran away under Wenger's era.
Absolutely.
Right? That we all said it should never happen again.
Yeah.
And it is part of running away from that. They messed it up to start with. They brought in some cowboys, that's how I'll call them, that were buying, what's his name? Nicolas Pepe for 75 or Lacazette for 50 something, and Bob, do you understand? Making ridiculous deals at times. Buying what's his name? This German guy, Mustafi, for 35 million, and you're wondering who sanctioned this kind of stupid deals. We got it right. The club got it right, and I'm worried that they might have just, maybe they. I hope they do the right thing and bring in someone who knows his onions, who knows what he's doing, who can take the club forward, who can provide cover to Arteta's excesses, and even also manage the board and let the board realize you need to make this kind of deals, which is what Edu did for the Declan Rice deal. The board were not willing to go for it. They're like, it's too much. And it's like, if you want to compete, you need to be doing this kind of stuff, So, yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
All right. Yeah, that was not news that I thought we would be talking about today, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
It is what it is. Yes, sir.
That brings us to the end of our worthy mentions rapid fire segment. Let's get into the league review and preview.
Yes.
We start with the absolute chaos in the EPL. So Liverpool are top of the league. They almost lost. They came back against. They were the ones playing Brighton, right? They were the ones playing.
Yeah,
Brighton.
they played Brighton. Yeah.
Brighton had many chances in the first half. Should have put the game away. 2, 3, maybe even 4. Welbeck has discovered the fountain of youth. And he's playing fantastic.
Who is Welbeck? Tell them what you call Welbeck. You don't call Welbeck
Ghana
Welbeck,
Jollof.
please. Ghana Jollof.
Ghana Jollof. Yeah, Ghana
Ghana
Jollof.
Jollof.
Because it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible like Ghana Jollof. And I say this as someone who loves Ghanaians, just not their Jollof. And so there, at a point, Brighton were up 1-0. Liverpool came back 1-1, and then Salah did what Salah always does, and they won. But earlier that day, Arsenal went to Newcastle and laid an egg. Had their worst game of the season, in my opinion.
Yep.
And it was someone said it was a 0-0 game with a beautiful goal. It felt like that. It felt because Newcastle scored early, and they could still be playing 2 days later, and
it would still be 0-0.
Arsenal would still not have scored, right? Okay. And then the shock of all shocks, though, was City going to Bournemouth. Bournemouth has never defeated City in the league in their history. City going to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth scoring not one, but 2 times.
Wow.
Semenyo scored the first one, turned, I think it was John Stones around, just absolutely turned him around. And then Evanilson scored a second after missing an easier one earlier. So it could have been 3 or 4. But then, City put one back, but it was too little too late. So the top of the table looks a mess. Okay, there was a 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Man U.
United.
So Nottingham Forest and Villa had a problem. They had a problem at Spurs. They were up 1-0 and then conceded 4, which is interesting. And I wanted to talk to you about that, Yinka, because Son equalized for Spurs, and then your boy Ange took him out, and he was not happy. He didn't throw a tantrum or anything, but he was not happy. But Richarlison, who came in for him, was instrumental in one, maybe 2 of those goals. Dominic Solanke scored 2. But Richarlison actually played really, really well. So I think Ange made the right decision. So I've tried to run through all the important games, but let's just talk in general. What's your take on the chaos in the EPL?
Yeah. So just to bring people into our internal conversations, after the Arsenal game, I jokingly, well, not really jokingly, but I said Arsenal till accident, as in Arsenal is in trouble. They just had an accident, And you reminded me that historically, after 10 games, when you in the past will say stuff like that, I will tell you it's too early. Why am I doing that now? Right?
It's true.
And I said I hear you, but looking at the current the table, right? It is a major chaos, Akin.
It is.
Major chaos. Right? The difference between 5th position, why am I even saying 5th? The difference between the 3rd position and the 11th position, I think, is 4 points.
Yeah. It's why you can't take it seriously. That's why you can't take it seriously. No, Banyika, that's why.
And Arsenal is modeled in this whole thing, right? And I get it. I get the fixture, the crazy fixture pile up to start the season. So on Wednesday, Arsenal is going away to Milan, and then coming back home, but they're away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's ahead of Arsenal right now on goals difference. Chelsea's 4th, Arsenal's 5th. Forest, the surprise of the season so far, they've only conceded 7 goals. The only team that's conceded less is Liverpool with 6, and that's why they're top, right? Forest are having a good season, but I don't expect that to last. And they've also had a favorable...
is having a great season. Wood is the 2nd highest scorer in the league after Haaland.
Yeah, he's on 8 goals. Alan is on 11. Mbeumo is on 8. But if at the beginning of the season, if they had told you Haaland will be 1, Mbeumo and Wood will be 2, 10 games into the season, you would be like, what are you people smoking? You guys y'all are crazy. But that just tells you that every other team in the EPL, they've elevated And the usual top four, Liverpool, or last season's top three, let me put it that way. Man City and Arsenal are having a not too good start to the season. Man City is still 2 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool, everything has been going well for them. The only hiccup they've had has been Forest at home. Yeah? And that game, they could have won 5-0, but they ended up losing 1-0. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the chaos in this whole setup is telling you that every club from 1 to 11, I can even add Brentford. United is 13th. No, you get what I'm trying to say. That on a good day, if you don't bring your A game, anybody from 1 to 10 can beat anybody. That's what it is.
Okay. So I'm gonna reverse myself. I had a momentary lapse in judgment when I allowed myself to believe that Arsenal could no longer win the league. That lasted about a day. I'm back to my old position that Arsenal are gonna win this league. And who else? Go on. I know, but who else believes this? You know who else believes this?
Gary Neville.
Okay,
you are pitching tent. I can pause. When I'm your brother, and when you're going off tangent, and you just beating around the bush, and you've lost all focus. Why on earth would you pitch your tent with Mr. Gary Neville?
Because at this point, I'm looking for comfort, and none of you people will give me comfort. So, but here's the logical basis for what I think.
Let's hear it.
So, City have lost Rodri, but they haven't lost Pep.
Yeah.
They haven't lost Holland. Holland would go through. He started the season just scoring hat tricks for fun. He would get back to a point where he's gonna just be banging in, and nobody will be able to stop him. Foden will not be out of form forever. Some of their new players are actually pretty good. And to be real, you can remind me the name of Rodri's replacement.
Kovacic.
Thank you. Kovacic has actually played pretty well. It's just not Rodri. If we had never seen Rodri play before, Kovacic is doing typical CDM things.
Absolutely.
He's doing the things that 7 years ago we thought a CDM should do.
Absolutely.
Right? It's been good, but it's just it's
Chelsea
like
that wanted to finish his career.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was a good player at Inter Milan, he was a good player at Real Madrid, came to Chelsea, and all of a sudden is. Anyway, move on. Continue. I'm listening.
So I say all that to say there's 28 games left for City. They do this all the time. They literally can go 28 games unbeaten. I don't know if they will, but they can do it. Right? So that tells me
Arsenal will win the league because we are talking about City.
I'm getting there. So that's City. For me, nothing's really changed. They'll figure out the Rodri thing. The fixture list will settle down for them, not a problem. So let me talk about Liverpool briefly.
Okay.
After I saw them at the Emirates, I came to the conclusion they're not gonna win the league. They're just not that good. It's Salah. Salah is what makes them special. They're not that good, Yinka. They're not that. So their fixture list has been extremely kind, Yinka. So let me tell you where they haven't been. Have they played Chelsea home or away?
No.
Okay. They played Man U, right? Have they played
away.
City home or away?
Nope.
Okay. They came to the Emirates and should have lost. Okay. They were they came with their entire team. Arsenal, pretty much was, didn't have half their team. Have they played Villa? I don't believe so. Have they played Spurs? I don't believe so. Okay. You see where I'm going with this? So things will recalibrate. Okay. Like the Arsenal's fixture list has been killer. So you can say, injuries. You can say, fixture list. to have both at the same time is kind of insane. So I expect Liverpool to come back down to earth and be competing with Villa, and I think we're gonna have a top two again, and it will be a race to the end. I'm not worried. I'm back to my senses, and I'm not worried about Arsenal. That's it.
So just to
Go on.
buttress your point on Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
between the week of November 27th, which is a Wednesday, to December 4th, which is a week in between, they play Real Madrid at home on 27th. On Sunday, they are home to City. And on Wednesday, they're away to Newcastle.
Okay.
But the reason why I said what I said about Arsenal lacking is not because of Liverpool or because of City. It's because of what I said about Arsenal. That sparkle that they had last season is not there right now. They will need to play themselves.
They didn't have it all of last season, Yinka. They didn't have it. This time last season, they didn't have it.
They didn't have
Remember?
it.
They had to go to Dubai.
They had to go
to Dubai.
So,
okay.
In fact, you took the words out of my mouth, right?
Okay.
Maybe they need to go to Dubai again to go and get that same sparkle back. Sprinkle some.
Need that.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Or maybe a January transfer can kickstart.
They don't do that. Yeah? They won't do that. You know they won't do that.
But right now, Akin, despite the lack of sparkle at the beginning of last season, it wasn't fifth place Arsenal, right? Do you understand? I get it. I get it. That's where I'm coming from. So it's the plays, what they're putting out on the field that I'm worried about. Yeah. I'm not looking at the other guys. Yeah. I mean, play who's in front of you. If you win your games, do you understand?
Yeah, but we've seen this before. But it's okay.
All right. We have.
Anything else in the EPL worth? I have one, but do you have anything in the EPL worth talking about?
Let's hear it, because I missed quite a number of the games because of my traveling. So let's hear your point.
This might be me grasping at straws, but I felt like Ruud van Nistelroy gave a lot of energy to Man U, on the sideline. I saw a belief in in Rashford that I hadn't seen in a while. I saw a commitment in Rashford that I hadn't seen in a while. I saw Rashford track him back. It hit the post, really good shot, tight angle, all of that. Van Nistelrooy is giving all of this and let's go, all of that, right? And it reminded me a lot of when Duncan Ferguson was interim twice for Everton. Things turned around a little bit, except with Van Nistelrooy, we've actually seen him run a team before and have a system and have a belief. And I think they should keep him. Unfortunately, they won't, because Amorim is coming with his, army of coaches. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is actually a decent coach. I mean, we've watched him in Champions League before, so that was my one thing.
Okay, I totally agree with you. I would have given Van Nistelrooy the rest of the season.
I would have too,
and I think he deserved it. Yeah, because what's the difference between Van Nistelrooy and Amorim?
Yeah.
We don't know yet. So I would have said, Amorim, yes, we agree you're going to be our coach for next season, but let's, give it to the end of the season. Yeah. And I think Van Nistelrooy.
Where else could he go? Where else could Amorim go at the end of the season? Where else would he go?
Nowhere.
Over Man U. Nowhere. Yeah.
Nowhere. But I think Van Nistelrooy too. He'll find his place. Coaches get recycled. Once you're in the system, you won't stay out of job for too long. So good luck to him. But I like him actually. He was one of my better strikers in those days. I like strikers that doesn't piss around. He's only interested in
don't mess around.
He doesn't bother playing.
Strong,
I just want to score.
Technical.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Yinka, let's take a quick trip to Serie A. I see you have a AC Milan jersey on.
Yes.
the team of our collective youth.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, are there cracks in the Napoli armor, Yinka? Something happened this weekend with with our boy Ademola Lookman. So
Our
talk
boy.
to our people.
Our boy. So
Yeah.
I know they're not gonna. I hope they don't do a Vini for him, tongue in cheek. But he at this point he has to be the African Footballer of the Year. I mean,
Mm.
you know, it's not even. It's not up for debate from my own perspective. Yes,
Yeah.
I am biased, and frankly, I don't care. I think he should be the African Footballer of the Year. But in that game, two first half beautiful goals, one with the right leg, another with the left leg.
Mm.
Atlanta just turned back the hands of time, and it was exactly what they did to Leverkusen in the finals of the Europa League last season.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what they did to Napoli. They neutralized Napoli. Apart from the shot that what was his name? This Scott, the former Man United, McTominay. He had a shot
McTominay.
after Lookman scored the first that hit the post. Other than that, Akin, Napoli looked toothless. They looked toothless. And it was very, very unlike Conte and his team. And they were playing at home. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's the sun that was too much for them because, I mean, the sun looked scorching. I don't know what it
You're
was. It
crazy.
just
You're crazy.
they look they look the shadow of themselves. I'm serious. They look the shadow of themselves. And I'm wondering, is this because as it stands, they're still top of the league? They're just a
Mm-hmm.
point ahead of Inter. And I think next week's game, let me check. I think they play Inter next week.
Mm. I can't wait.
I think Inter Napoli, yes. It's
Wow.
next week on
At the San
Sunday
Siro?
at the San Siro.
Oof.
At the San Siro.
Oof.
So that's a I don't want to call it title decider, but
It could be.
it could be.
It could be.
Yeah, because it's only a point between the two of them.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and don't look now. Atlanta, they're only 3 points behind Napoli. They are third on the table already. So
Okay.
their early season hiccup that they had, they've moved past it. They've banged out 5 wins, right? And now they're third on the table. So Syria is looking like a wild race right now. It's crazy. But I love leagues like this. This is what I want to see. These are the kind of I want to be excited and be surprised when matches happen. Yeah. The Juventus that we thought, Akin, that they were gonna light up Syria, you and I were
Yeah.
both wrong. They are languishing
Yeah.
in sixth.
Crazy.
Although they've not lost any game this season, but Akin, they've drawn 6 games.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
No, it's not.
They're still unbeaten this season. They're unbeaten. But you know the way Juve is. Next thing they're gonna fire Mota and bring back Allegri.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what
it's going to, because it doesn't have a job.
I'm not a betting man, but if I were to be, I'll put some money on Allegri returning to Juve before the season runs out.
So for those who don't know, this is Yinka's worst coach of all time. Yinka cannot stand this man at all. At all. And okay, he cannot be objective about this man.
Let's rephrase that, right?
Okay.
It's the hype that I don't get.
Got it.
The whole world puts him here, and I just don't see it. That's it.
If I may, I think he's a great politician. And I think when it suits you, you ignore the role of politics in top level management jobs in football and otherwise, and in real life. He's a great politician. He has presence. When he shows up to places, people listen. I can see FIFA appointing him into something because he just has that presence. You know what I mean? Is Ferguson, is Ancelotti, his Arsene Wenger, is all those things. He's smart, he's articulate, he's intelligent. That's why he has that presence. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the X's and O's, as it were, but he's always only gonna coach top clubs because of that
Yeah.
presence. That's what it is. So he's never gonna get a chance to really fail and fall flat on his face because he's not even gonna coach like a Atalanta, But anyway, that's an aside. Back to Atalanta. Number one, I don't remember the last time I was this happy for a footballer as I am for Ademola Lookman right now. And it's not just, yes, I'm Nigerian, he's Nigerian, I love everything Nigerian. But I don't know him. I don't know his family. But it just gives me so much joy and happiness when I watch him. And I just feel I love his story. I love that he's humble, he does the work. And I love how he's getting better as he gets into his prime or as he's in his prime. He's doing things that he wasn't given a chance to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope he stays. I know there's a contract situation going on. I hope he stays. I hope he continues to rack up all the records. I saw a post after the game, and they're like, Ademola Lookman does not like you to be undefeated. Like, don't because of what he did to Leverkusen and what he did to Napoli. It's like, don't mess with this man. So he just gives me so much joy. So I'm really happy for him.
And you're right. He's humble. Is I mean, he went to the Ballon d'Or with his dad. Yeah.
Great jacket, by the way. Great jacket. Amazing. But go on. Very stylish.
Great jacket. And his dad's attire too was quite Nigerian.
It was good.
And lovely. But you see, I second everything that you've said. Happy for him. He's evolving. And right now, it seems as if he's too good for Atlanta. And I see a big money move on the horizon. I see it. Right? Because
let's see how it goes.
I mean, you look at him and you look at the Martinelli in Arsenal and you're like, you get what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
You get what I'm saying? Anyway.
It's more purposeful. It's more purposeful.
Exactly. It's more purposeful.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. Yinka, can we leave Serie A? Or is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really.
Okay.
Milan. I just want to talk about Milan quickly.
Okay, go for it.
They're struggling. And Rafael Leao, who we all thought would be their star player, is been on the bench for the past three games. Yeah. Fonseca is saying there's no issue. He just doesn't think he's fit enough to, or good enough, or fit enough to start, or something along those lines. But they're playing Madrid also in the Champions League on Wednesday, and he said, he will start. So be on the lookout for Leao leaving Milan, because that boy is too good to be sitting on the bench for 3 games. We can move on.
Okay. All right. Inka, let's go to the Bundesliga. And
yes, boss.
I have a question for you. Have Leverkusen been found out?
Okay. Last season, they couldn't put any foot wrong. They were anything they touched, they had the Midas touch, it turned into gold. Everything. Even when they flew too close to the sun, they didn't get burnt. They went the whole season unbeaten. Guess what? In the last 5 games, they've only won 1. In the Bundesliga, they've drawn 4, 1-1 in the last 5.
Still unbeaten though.
No. So they've lost the game. They've lost the game already this season. They've lost the game this season. But right now, they are, 7 points behind Bayern Munich. And they've only played 9 games this season. Yeah? So it goes back to what I was telling our guys on the group when they were talking about Arsenal. Yeah. I'm like, this is numb for Arsenal. Last season was peak, given the strength of the team. What you saw last season, that was punching above your weight. This is where the dust has settled. Yeah? You might get there again. Yeah? I'm not saying you won't, but don't think last season was the norm. No. The same thing with Leverkusen. Last season, it was miraculous. It was anything they did, was a success, was successful.
Absolutely.
But this time around, it's not as if they're playing worse, but they're not just getting the results. They're not just getting the results. So, have they been found out? I don't think so.
Yes. But go on.
See, the games that they're drawing this season, last season they would have won by a 97th minute winner. The 4 games they drew, they could have won all of them easily. Yeah. So they're not really playing bad. They're just not getting the results. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to translate that to they've been found out, be my guest. But they're not playing bad. That's all I'm saying. It's not as if the slump is because they're not playing good football. They're playing well. It's just, and maybe the added pressure of the Champions League is also a problem. Yeah. They were doing Europa League last season, so they could piss around and do all stuff. Yeah. But this time around, there are tough games on the horizon that you then need to plan for. So maybe that's why they're not having that much of a good season. But I don't think they've been found out. I think they'll still be fine.
So I think I like to put it this way: the other coaches get paid too.
Fair point.
And now you have so many different assistants. You have instant video analysis. They can give you video analysis right there on the bench on your iPad.
On your iPad, yeah.
So, and this is where the inexperience of the coach might do you in, right?
Yeah.
Because this is literally, Xabi Alonso's first
second
rodeo.
Season. Yeah.
This is his first rodeo. He took over late 2 seasons ago. He had a full season last year. Like you said, flew close to the sun. So there's some memories if you've never exercised. Sorry, there's some muscles if you've never exercised them before. You don't have them. You don't have that muscle memory. So for me, I actually see some of their players playing better. I see the right back is playing better this year.
Frimpong, yeah.
Yeah, Frimpong is playing better this year. So
Boniface was injured for the last chunk of last season. He's here now. He's playing very well.
So and sometimes I see we forget this because, and I blame social media. There were days when, let's go back to Man U, right? There were years where Man U didn't win the league, but all their players showed up. Things just didn't align, things just didn't happen,
I agree.
So people think 99, but 1999, that wasn't necessarily their best year. There were some years in the early 2000s.
It wasn't their best, Akin.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but anyway, so that's kind of my take on it. I think it's yes, they have been found out, and no, it's not the end of their run, but they do need refreshing. And remember, sometimes you don't always, I don't agree with some of these coaches who say, oh, I'll only bring in someone who can improve the team. And they say that as a proxy for the talent has to be better than what I have. No, sometimes you need a backup sometimes. Absolutely. So you don't play what you have all the time. So I think they don't have a deep enough squad. All right, Nka, let's move on. You don't like the Champions League formats. But you seem to think that there are a few games that are exciting this week. So tell us about those games.
Yeah, there are a couple of games that I'm actually looking forward to. So there's Real Madrid Milan. There's Liverpool Leverkusen. Liverpool's at home. Madrid is at home. There's Man City away to Sporting. That's an interesting one. There's Bayern home to Benfica. Given Bayern's situation,
they need to win.
They need to win for them.
That's a must. That's a must win by 5. It's not just a must win. They can't.
God bless you. It has to be a high scoreline win. PSG Madrid. That's another good one. Then there's obviously Inter Arsenal. Yeah. So that's like 6 games that I've ruled out that are solid. and now the stake is beginning. The pressure is there. The stake is high. If you now you have to win. So PSG is a must win for PSG. It's a must win
And
for
that's
Bayern.
PSG Atletico, right? Not
PSG
Real.
Atletico,
Which I say okay
not Real.
because
PSG
Milan
Atletico
Milan
Madrid.
is playing Real. Yeah,
Madrid is playing. Yeah. So it seems as if the stake is higher now. People need to bring their A game, or else they'll find themselves in playoffs. So those games are games I'm looking forward to. Tomorrow's, yes, I will watch. Wednesdays I might not be able to, but yeah, those are
yeah.
some
So
interesting games.
I noticed you didn't mention Inter Arsenal. Is that because you're too petrified, so it doesn't excite you,
No,
or you
actually,
just
I thought I
forgot?
did. No, I thought
Oh,
I
you
did.
didn't.
I
Okay,
thought
well,
I
go
did.
ahead.
If
Yeah.
I did,
Okay, you did.
apologies. Yeah.
Okay.
So Inter, then Arsenal. I don't know
Yeah.
whoever set up these things, but Villa, they're top, and they have a very, very easy
A
game again.
cupcake.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, when will Villa face their own? When is it going to happen for them? They're away to
So,
Club Brugge.
oh, Amokachi's old club.
Yeah, they went to Club Brugge, and I'm wondering, when will Villa suffer? Because they haven't suffered yet. Well, Bayern was
Well,
supposed
this
to show them Pepe, but Bayern messed up.
exactly. Well, they suffered yesterday in the hands of Spurs.
That was
But
shocking. That was
you know,
shocking, by the way.
Yinka, everything I just said about Ademola Lookman, that's how I feel about Unai Emery. I really like to see him do well. I'm very happy
Yeah,
for
same
him.
here. I am too.
I feel like he's been vindicated,
Mm,
and fortune favors the bold. Okay. This
yeah,
man is aggressive. This man is aggressive, is courageous, he's bold. When people were making fun of his language skills, he ditched his interpreter and forced himself to do his press conferences in English, which
yeah,
I thought took a lot of courage. I love when people do stuff like that. It's the same thing with Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham,
yeah.
within a few months of getting to Madrid, was doing his press conferences in Spanish. You know,
Mm,
I mean, this is not like Mbappe. Mbappe speaks like 4 languages fluently. This is not like
yeah,
that. But Bellingham didn't grow up speaking Spanish. Unai Emery didn't grow up speaking English. For me, it's a sign of courage and the way he
yeah.
sets up his team. Yinka, I would never start John McGinn in any team I'm coaching. Me, never. My heart is not strong enough. He's barely a footballer. That's Unai Emery's captain. That's a
Yeah,
courageous man.
yeah.
That is a courageous man.
I agree. And if
You
he's
know?
getting the productivity and the output
Yeah.
from again, and he's getting that, I think he's a good coach,
It's
right?
amazing.
It's
It's
just
amazing to me.
wrong
Yeah.
timing for the Arsenal, the whole Arsenal,
And
whatever.
PSG.
Yeah.
And PSG.
And PSG
Yeah.
is just wrong
Yeah.
timing. He's a fantastic
Yeah.
coach. I like him. Yeah, and I wish him
Yeah.
well. No hard feelings at all. No hard feelings at
All
all.
right.
Yes, sir.
So, Yinka,
Yes, sir.
looking around the rest of Europe, is there
Mm-hmm.
any other league that you want to talk about that we have
Nah,
not talked about? Now, just move on.
we've already crowned PSG, haven't we? We have. Um, Mourinho is doing some crazy stuff in Turkey. He's stirring the pot, right? He's openly accusing
Oh,
Galatasaray of corruption. He said that he's disappointed with Fenerbahce's board that they didn't they didn't give him the full picture. They didn't tell him that Galatasaray and the Turkish league was this corrupt. That if he had known, he wouldn't have taken the job. He's stirring the pot already. I think this guy has gotten, they get a job, get fired, get a payout. I think he's gotten it down to the T. He's now, I think that is his bread and butter.
Yinka. So
Because you don't even need to say that. Or am I missing something,
so
Akin? I don't get it.
so when I usually on this podcast when I mention character, I'm
Yeah.
always very careful to say I'm talking about sporting character, footballing character, not
Yeah.
your personal character.
Yeah.
Not in this situation. In this situation, when I say character, I mean your actual character as a human. I think Mourinho is a terrible human being. I think he is. I don't like him. I don't like anything about him. It's all the things they taught me in Sunday school you should not be. Pompous, arrogant, a complete so and so. Right? So, I mean, Yinka, when you're nice to only your people, that's not nice.
But can I say
Go on.
something in his defense?
Yeah.
I think he's playing a character.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm listening.
I think there is a difference between Jose, the human being, and Jose, the coach. He is playing that villain role. He has perfected it. I think he's playing a character. And how you will know is most of his players, till today, most of them that played for him in the past, they love him.
That's what I'm saying. Do. When your own people love you, that's not enough. How do you treat other people?
Okay. I get that. I get your point, and fair point.
Yeah. How do you treat other people?
But I think he's just saying, yes, I'm doing this just because you're on the other side. I don't hate you personally. Once it's done, it's all love. I think that's what it is. I kind of like the guy. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
Well, Yinka, do you really believe that the Turkish league is corrupt? Galatasaray are corrupt to the exclusion of Fenerbahce? You really believe that? It's crazy. It doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't pass any kind of test.
Of course not.
It makes no sense.
He knows what
it makes no sense.
He knows what he's doing. He's just riling up everybody. He is. That's what he's doing. And they'll get tired. They'll find him. They'll fire him. They'll pay him out.
Yeah.
He'll chill, go back to punditry for a while. Someone else will get so desperate, they'll pick him up. He'll do the same thing. It's like a con at this point. That's what it looks like to me. I'm sorry, but that's what it seems like.
Why is he still getting jobs? So this is like, for me, right? This is like when we had the Me Too movement globally, and some things just became untenable. Some things you just couldn't say anymore as a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we've left the era of Mourinho behind. It feels, it's not even that old. It's what, late 50s? It just feels it feels dated. It feels archaic. It feels just very yuck. But I'm proud to say I was early on. I mean, me and my brother, because back when we used to use email, I have reams and reams of email where I was going after this guy's character. My brother didn't care because he was a Chelsea fan and they were winning. Like, you're winning because you have money.
Yeah, and there are plenty Mourinho fans out there. Don't let them come for you.
No, but for me, it's like, I think character matters. And frankly, Chelsea won with everybody. The Chelsea coach that didn't win is the outlier. It's not the norm.
Yeah.
Chelsea won with everybody. Chelsea
won with Chelsea.
Yeah, Di Matteo won. And then you and I had to find out he was coaching in South Korea or China or somewhere. We didn't know where he was.
We didn't know where he was. We had to Google him.
So Chelsea went through a very unstable stretch of, I think it was 8 years, 8 managers, 7 trophies. Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. So, and frankly, I said this, I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but Mourinho's predecessor at Chelsea, I'm doing the thing again where I'm forgetting names. The Italian guy. No, predecessor. The guy before him. Italian.
That went to Leicester. That went to Leicester.
Yes.
Forgotten his name too.
Okay. That man, the way Mourinho treated him, the way Chelsea treated him, in real time at the time, I was telling my brother, this is terrible. And I'm like, this man is a good coach. Your team wasn't ready to go to that next level, right? So I couldn't have been happier.
Claudio Ranieri is his name.
Thank you. Ranieri. And for years, this guy was abused. For years, they called him a nearly man. They called, he went to Roma and failed. He went to this place and that place and failed. I'm like, I always say, I've never done it before. Doesn't mean I can never do it. I don't understand people who rush to, you can never. I just don't understand that. So I was so happy when he won for Leicester. When everything just aligned for him. Because I'm like, just to say someone can never win is a little crazy for me. But anyway.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Yinka, do you have a donkey of the week?
Of course I do. But I don't want to rehash everything that I've said, right? So I won't sound like a broken record. But everybody, you can just rewind to like the first 15 minutes of this particular episode and go and hear everything we said about Real Madrid, right?
Okay.
And just, insert that into this particular slot and give them the award of the donkey of the week. Yeah.
Okay.
It's embarrassing at epic level.
It's terrible.
That's what it is.
It's terrible.
Embarrassing at epic level. And one point, maybe I should add to this, for everybody that is trying to paint racism on this as to why Vini did not win, y'all need to come on.
Inka, if you let me, I will find racism in anything you let me find a racism in. But
I know, but not in this particular case. But go ahead.
There was something you said that for whatever reason I hadn't thought of. Like, dude, number 3 was also your teammate.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
This should be celebrated. You guys won Team of the Year, Manager of the Year, and you came 2nd and 3rd in the voting. And this reminded me, Yinka, you know what it reminded me of was the year Spain won the World Cup. And they had like 6 Spaniards in the top 10. Second and third were Iniesta and Xavi, right? I'm sure Del Bosque, I think Del Bosque was the coach, won Coach of the Year or whatever it is. But they took so many votes from each other that Messi won, because Messi scored like 155 million goals that year, So, and they took points from each other. That happens sometimes.
Which is what that's why I say I want to see the way people voted. I didn't want to make that point.
You haven't seen the final tally?
No,
You've seen the tally.
No, I haven't. I didn't even see that.
Oh, it was very close. It was very close.
I didn't even see that.
Okay.
Because I was so pissed off with the whole situation.
Oh, see, when you said you wanted to see how people voted, I thought you meant who voted for whom. Oh, we know
that's what I want to know who voted for who. So I want to see, Nigerian captain, Nigerian coach, you get what I'm saying? Portuguese captain.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. And that's what I want the whole world to see. So that they will understand how this stuff works. And if anybody didn't vote, they will say, sorry, this is not who I voted for. You cheated. They will say. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. Nah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So imagine if Bellingham had won. That's even if Bellingham had won, what would Vini have done? What would Real Madrid have done? Boycott it?
Yeah.
They will still boycott it. Because Bellingham, me knowing who Bellingham is, I think Bellingham, the kind of person he is and the way he projects himself and his family, I'm sure, let me say I'm sure, but it's more likely that the family are not happy with the way things panned out. They're just saying, you know what? Let's just go with the flow. Don't go against the grain. If that's what the club wants. But he would have been nice for the young man to be there. It would have been nice for him. And he had every right to say, I could have won this thing also. I could have.
All right. Anyway. Inka, the Spanish representative, the Spanish journalist voted for Vini Jr. They voted 1 Vini, 2 Rodri, 3 Bellingham, 4 Cruz, 5 Carvajal. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Which other one is interesting to you?
I need to see. I've not seen the list. Maybe because I've been out of whatever. I've not seen the list. Send it to
I'll
me,
send it
and
to
we
you.
can
Brazil went Vini, Rodri, Bellingham.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't as if these guys opted and they put Rodri in 5.
No.
For the two people that you've said
This is
now, they
amazing.
didn't opt to put Rodri in 5. So it will be nice to see. Send it to me, please. And we can revisit this at the beginning of next week episode, just to tie this up in a perfect bow, and we can move on from that. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so Madrid, my donkey of the day.
All right. You wanna take us out?
All right, guys. Thank you very much once again. We really thank you for the engagements, the likes, the support, the subscription across all our social media platform. We appreciate it. But like Oliver Twist, we want more. Yeah. So please tell your friends about us. Share, like, subscribe to our channel. Send in your questions. We don't had questions for a couple of weeks. But we're looking forward to hearing from you guys. Anything you want us to talk about, even if it's outside of football, we'll take it on. Yeah. Between this young man and myself, maybe we're even underserving ourselves by talking about sports only. But this is a sports podcast, so we'll keep it that way. But once again, thanks, guys. We really do appreciate it. Akin.
So first, thank you, Yinka. It's almost 1 a.m. where Yinka is. But thank you for staying up. I know you have a busy day tomorrow. For everyone watching, we appreciate you. Like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, when you see any of our shorts or reels, I do not know the difference. But when you see any of our shorts or reels or segments, please share them with somebody. That's my ask. But we appreciate it, and we will see you next week. I think next week we'll be able to record on Sunday as per usual. And thank you so much.
We might actually record on Monday again, but it's all good.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me. You're killing me. Where are you going again?
I'm returning back home on Sunday.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we'll see you again. We'll see you a week from today.
We'll see you again on Monday. We'll see you a week from today.
Thanks, Shinka.
All right, people.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.